So I'm recording basically for assignment number 2, just a demo of the DevTools. And I'm actually going to be using Firefox because it has a very interesting 3D display. So for the first part, let me go back and restart this demo. You can see here that for this, when you just look at the HTML, you can see the different components. And if I do and go ahead and start the game, I can go and right-click this to inspect the element. And we have to make this something that's invisible, make that shown. So what we'll do is actually, I'll just go to here and remove this, or actually just show you, I can get rid of that. And the JavaScript on the page automatically picked that up. So if I actually go here and order these numerically, there's different ways of doing it. I can actually go in here and edit the HTML. So like for instance, I can make this a 1, and it'll change there automatically. Or I can even, for example, take this line. Let me open it up and drag it, which is a bit harder here than it was on Chrome. But let's see if I double click that. Well, we'll just edit them manually, just to show you that we can do that. So we'll make this a 2, 3, and a 4. So for this, once again, we'll have another element which we have to add a border to. So for this element right here, we can add border, and we can say, let's say, add like a 4-pixel solid red. Well, we didn't let me finish, but that's very interesting. So the next part here is to make both the background colors the same, and let's say I wanted to make both of them green. So I'll inspect this element right here, and that way I can just copy this color, and when I inspect this element, I can simply paste that and it'll accept it. Part of the reason why I wanted to use Firefox here is because it actually has a 3-dimensional view, which I'll show you right here. And that's pretty interesting because you can see what object is on top of which in some sense. Here it's not working precisely as well because these two images, even though they're overlapping, you might not see them so easily. But that's just one feature that I thought was really interesting. Sometimes you might have things that are behind the web page and you're not seeing them, so you can go and you can edit it that way. But I'm going to go back to, I'm going to turn this off. And so for this one, make the rear element come to the front. So the rear element is obviously the green, and so for the green, you can see the z-index is set to 0, and for the red, the z-index is set to 9. So one thing I can do is just make this maybe -1, and it'll take care of that. Okay, for this next part, what we're going to do is we're going to have to make either the green box look like the red one, or the red one look like green. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm just going to go and inspect the green one, and you can see here that basically has a margin left, which I don't think we're going to use, but it has a color. So let's copy that color over and change this color here to green. That's number 1. And here we also see, for example, the opacity is set to 0.5. We'll get rid of that just to make it full. Border radius, we don't want that because we see the other one doesn't have a corner. It has sharp corners. It doesn't have curved edges. We'll look at, for example, what they have for the border. So the box shadow is there. I'll copy this over, and it has a 5-pixel. I'll copy this over. So inspect this element and then add to it a border with these things, so it looks exactly the same. And let's inspect this again. It's actually height is 100 and width is 100, so it's a perfect square. Position absolute, and also the rotation is trying to see where it's being rotated. Oh, there it is. So transform, we can copy this over. Copy this, inspect this element, So I'll add on to that the rotate, and then I'll also make the height 100 pixels, and also make the width 100 pixels. And the only thing missing is, I believe, the box shadow. So if we add this right here, we can copy that, and then go to this next element and add a box shadow of the same parameters, and it's done. Okay, I'm just going to pause right here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to take this arrow and move its tip to the, and it's easy to do this tip because as this image right here, when you move it, the origin is actually not in the center, but it's actually at the top left corner. So all we have to do is match that with the intersection right here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to inspect the element, and I was able to actually get, even though it's very thin, where this is. And so we can see here that so for this element it is fixed, and I believe it's at 300 pixels. So we'll try to do that. We'll try to move this arrow to the top. We'll make it 300, and you can see it's matched right there. Let's take a quick look at the three-dimensional view, and you can see, for instance, like it's like right on top of it. And then you also have this other element, which is right over. It might be easier to click on this right here, and this is at 400. So we'll do the same for this, and we have a left of 400, and that takes care of that. So I'll have to zoom out a little bit here because I don't have enough screen space. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing again, and this time it's going to be kind of more difficult because we have to move the origin there, so we have to accommodate for the fact that the origin is not the top left corner. Well, it is for the image, but that's not what we want to align. So let's see here. Inspecting the element, we see here that it's at, I don't know if I got it, actually. Let's see. No, I didn't. I wasn't able to target it. So right here. This is left of 400. So if we go to this crosshair image, it's left. Let's go to the circle. So it's left. Let's say we try to make it 200 or 100 pixels. I forgot that. Pixels. It's way too much. So let's try 200. No, let's do that. 200 isn't enough either. Let's try 250. I'll do 275, and that seems to work. And for this as well, we can try, let's say, 300 pixels. That's not. That's too much. 200 pixels. Even less than that. So let's try 175 or 176, and that should be about it. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna zoom back to 0, so that way I can see the alignment. Actually, yeah. So when I zoom back to 100%, let's see, Control 0. It's not exactly the same, so we'll have to move it a little bit. So this one will probably be 178. And this one will probably be 126, and even though you can see here that it's aligned, it's kind of a bit messed up. So let me pause the video and fix my zoom first so I can see them properly. Okay, so I went back, fixed my zoom to 100%. It was at 90 before, so that's why I can see, for instance, that the top is not aligned properly. Let's make that. Let's actually do what? Let's make this a little bit lower, maybe by even 1 pixel. Oh, and it worked. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is type the word that is commented out at the top of the CSS file. So if we go into the CSS file, and the way we can get to that is, for example, if we go into the header, and maybe even before that, we can see the CSS file that's linked to it. That should be in. Should be here. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Oh, there it is. So it's this one right here. I can't seem to click on it. So let's see if I can. If I just click to the CSS, so the Firefox actually has just built in. I can pick it up, and if I just click on the CSS editor, I can see that commented out at the top is platypus. So I'll put that in. Platypus, and I can click next. So an image was downloaded. What's its file size? So if I actually go to the console, I can see here that there's an image right here, which it says seems to have transferred, and I can look over here to see what the information was, and this is the new image, and let's see if I can figure out how big this is. I know that it's a couple kilobytes. So maybe one thing I can do is I can just go and copy this. I'm going to copy this and maybe open this in a new tab. And then I can inspect the element, maybe. And no, it's not. Well, one way I can do is just save to my desktop. And then see how big it is there. It's 2.7 kilobytes. But the other way that I would probably just done this was to, if for instance I went to I'm not too familiar with the icons here, so it's a bit hard to see. But we'll go back to this and we'll make this 2.7. Okay, so that was that finished that method. But let's see if I can figure out how to get the size. On Chrome, you can easily go into the. It's a bit more straightforward. Let me make this a bit easier to use right now. If I go to web console, this is JavaScript. This is JavaScript profile. Okay, so here it is. So this size was 3.63 kilobytes. Even though that was probably another one that they were able to accept. So I believe that concludes the demo. And in class, I believe Freshly already mentioned that all we needed to do was go through this perhaps one more time. And if we did that, then that should be fine for the purposes of this assignment. And hopefully it is. I went over 5 minutes, but I hope that's okay.